Wait for Snyp. How's this?
There you go. Super
Better?
clear. HD clear.
Ah,
HD clear. Here we
I
go.
know.
We had to
Good.
refresh it. We had to refresh it.
No
So,
doubt. No doubt. I'm here. I'm hanging out. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
so
Okay.
the question was, where you from?
Oh, originally I'm from Money Earning Mount Vernon, man.
Mm.
I'm from the golden era.
Okay.
I'm from
Heavy
the Heavy
D?
D. Yeah, rest in peace, Heavy D, Pete Rock, Sail Smooth. Those my good brothers though right now. But as a kid, growing up in Money Earning Mount Vernon, man, seeing how Hev put it on the map and brought every big rapper that in the game, every rapper you think of, they had to come through. You know what I mean? And he made that an annual thing. They used to do cookouts every year. You know what I mean? And everybody from Diddy to Mary, everybody used to come through. So, it was a good childhood, man. And the hip hop, it was just such a different game then. You know what I mean? But I was blessed to grow up in that era, in that city. You know what I mean? As a child, I always make sure people understand, like, Mount Vernon is like my roots. You know what I mean? That's where it started for me. But Yonkers, I literally grew up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay. I
Yonkers,
think you're from Yonkers as
yeah,
opposed to Mount
Yonkers.
Vernon. Okay.
You know, Mount Vernon raised me, but Yonkers grew me up. You know what I mean? When it come to music, hustling, everything. Like everything started for me in Yonkers. You know what I mean? I always kind of balanced the two because they always was like a stone's throw away from each other. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Mount Vernon though is so small, it's only 4 square miles. Yonkers is so much bigger. You know what I mean? So for me it was like the best of both worlds though. You know what I'm saying?
And what was your childhood like, as far as your parents? Do you have any siblings?
And typical, rest in peace to my moms. My mom's was a Harlem girl. My mom's had me when she was 17. So I
Okay.
kind of grew up with my mom's. My mom's is one of the toughest females that I ever knew, not just because she was my mom's, because my friends got mothers, my cousins got mothers, and they'll all tell you my mom's was different. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they say a woman can't raise a man, but she did a damn good job. Don't really have too many fond memories of my pops. I was young. My pops is Cuban. You know what I mean? So he was out doing what he felt he had to do at the time. And I'm a mama's boy. So you know what I mean? My mom's raised me tough. You know what I mean? I got 2 little sisters. So I've been a big brother since I was 5 years old. I had a key to get into my crib when I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? I've been the man of the house probably since I was 12 years old. You know what I mean? And
Did you have any time living in Harlem ever?
Briefly, a lot of it due like my grandpops. They used to live on McCoon's, 145th Amsterdam. I spent a lot of time down in Harlem though, riding the trains, learning how the subway go. You know what I mean? But again, as I got older, I got more in tune with my environment. You know what I'm saying? So, I was Mount Vernon. I was YO. I was, yo, what up, Hat? Like, it's a Yonkers thing. You know what I mean? And again, I was blessed to just be a shorty growing up in the era where we were making different transitions. You know what I mean? Street transitions, G codes was different. And, who y'all see today as legends, was just making a transition. So it was cool. I was right there at the beginning of the wave. I was a shorty, but I was outside. I was outside early.
But you was outside with it, right?
Facts.
How you feel about that? How you feel about that the whole transition of seeing that from the start and where they at now, being that some of these guys are called goats and everything,
It's cool, It's like I kind of already knew this, you know what I mean? Like, not to brag, but I always bragged. Like, I spent a lot of early teenage years. I look back now as I'm older, and I kind of grew up a little too fast. But it was a blessing for me as well, though. That I was able to, come up with the psychological, like how my brain is wired, because I was able to be outside late and witness a lot of different things. Nobody never really had to show me anything. I just kind of watched it. You know what I'm saying? But when my bros was like just kind of coming, getting their feet wet, I used to be out of town. You know, I was a young shorty. I used to go out of town and I used to like always brag about X, rest in peace, the grand champ.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I used to brag about the locks because they was from my block. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's different. Like you live in the city and you know everybody, you see people around, but these dudes was on my block every day. You know
And
what
they
I mean?
still
X,
are.
everybody from Yonkers know X is from School Street, but X used to be in Whitney
Right.
Young day. Like this is early
Mm-hmm.
90s. You know what I mean? X used to come through with the all black army suit on, with a green Jets jersey, with his dog Brindle Pitt, Boomer. That's how I remember X from when I was a kid doing the beat on the wall for him in the staircase. You know
Wow.
what I mean? Coming outside, rhyming with Sheik, rhyming with Kiss, rhyming with Styles.
Right.
Styles ain't even really rhyme back in the days like that.
How old were you and how old were they at this
Yeah.
time?
Well, I'm 11. I'm 12. They like 16. You know what I mean? 17.
Oh
They like
wow.
4 or 5 years older than me, something like that. So,
Oh,
but
so
it's
you was
different
out
if you
there.
like if somebody's 45 and you 40, it's kind of like yeah, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
16 and I'm 11, 12, you
Yeah.
like oh yeah, little nigga.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know
you're
what I'm
supposed
saying?
to be out there, get out of here.
It's
Yo. Yeah,
different, right? So, you know, but again, you know, just from the way my mom's raised me, you know, being a Harlem girl, she moved her shit was a little, you know, swifter. She was quicker. So I developed that. So I was able to kind
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, be outside and understand, you know, it wasn't about my age. It was about what
Mm-hmm.
I knew and how I carried myself. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And the
Right.
older G's, who are even the Locks older G's, they all took a liking to me and a love for me because I was a shorty that could rhyme and I could be outside late night. I'm chilling. I started with holding packs, gambling, you know, the mother things, you know what I mean? I was exposed to it early though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, word up.
Autism. So we're gonna get into the autism real quick because I know that you are like an advocate for autism. I see you, I see your events, everything in the
Yeah.
summertime and all that, so just let us know why autism is so dear to you.
Man. All right, we going there already?
Yeah, yes. All across
Yeah,
the
man.
board, touching
I
everything. Go
mean,
ahead.
you know, anybody that know me, like, you know, I don't need a camera. You know, I don't need to fit. Like, I'm more concerned with how you treat me when you see me, what my energy do to a room, and how
Mm-hmm.
my influence lasts as an impression. These are the things that make me up. You know what I mean? So I'm not really. I don't care for the photo ops. I don't care for the Instagram. Really, I don't care to have a million people liking my shit. I don't really care
Yeah,
about that. Because at the
yeah,
end of the day, I'm from the era where you had to go outside to prove a point. You
yeah,
couldn't push a button. Nowadays, you can push a button. You could be everybody you want to be.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I say that to say that
yeah.
I never had to fake my lifestyle. You know, I never had to put on a certain front to be accepted. You know what I mean? This was something that started in my backyard, in my home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, something that's very personal to me. You know what I'm saying? I've probably been advocating now that I look back, and sometimes I don't realize the time, you know what I mean, until I see a lot of newer parents and newer advocates, you know, and it's like, wow, it makes me look back, like, because the people wasn't having that conversation. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
My
Yeah,
son,
I
my
have
son,
cousins. Yeah.
my
Mm-hmm.
son is
Yep.
16 years old today. You know what I mean? He's nonverbal.
Today?
Um, yeah, no, not today as his birthday. I'm just mean like today in present
Oh, so
time.
at this present time, he's
At
16.
present time, he's 16. So, you know,
Wow.
yeah, he got diagnosed at 18 months. So you do the math. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? That's how hard I've been
Yeah.
going. That's how long I've been going. And back then, um, like I said, people wasn't having a conversation like that.
At all.
Um, um, it was a tough thing. It's a tough transition because I had to make a decision. You know, like this is my life, right? So this is my child, right? So it's
Hmm.
like, you know, back to, you know, principles that my mom's gave me. Like, you got to handle your responsibilities. You step up
Right.
to the.
Right,
So,
Lord.
you know, my son gave me the strength, though. I think my son gave me the strength to not care what people thought. My son gave me the patience, you know what I mean, to deal with this journey. And I just started wearing it on my sleeve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I really care about. So when you meet me, yeah, all that shit is cool. I do all the dope joints with the locks. We've been on tour. All that shit is cool. But for me, the autism thing was a bigger calling. You
Uh,
know what I'm saying? And it's part of
uh,
my growth as an artist because if you look at any of my earliest days, like, you know, I have a track record. Like, I'm not like a rapper that just came out yesterday. He's hot and you can't Google his shit. My shit go back over 10 years. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And I came from, you know, the real grimy, dingy, you know, guttery type of approach, you know, and I've evolved through life experience, you know what I'm saying? But this has taught me something that nothing else could ever teach me, you know what I'm saying? So I just decided, like I said, that I was going to advocate full time. I was going to have the conversation. I wasn't going to be afraid to back down. And you can look at some of my previous interviews,
I
and
see
I'm
that.
talking about early 2000s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, mid 2000s, where, you know, we spoke about autism. You know, we and
Mm-hmm.
I always just try to make sure people understand that there's a lot of families that go through this thing every day, and some of them don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Some of them are scared to speak up
I
because they too conscious of what people think. You know what
see.
I mean? Some people ain't over that hump yet. You
Yeah.
understand? So I decided then, up until this very point today, that I was going to be a voice for those that didn't that wasn't ready to speak or didn't have the resources to speak. You know what I mean? And keep it cool, keep it G. Like I can't erase my past. Like, well, my past is what who made me I am today. But it don't mean that I can't elevate. I can't
Mm-hmm.
evolve. You know what I mean? So I sit here, I'm a hip hop kid. I'm a 90s baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I'm never gonna move shy away from that. But I'm also gonna show people, like, this is my real life. This is what I do
Right.
when the cameras and the mics go off.
Right.
I got
This is
my
why you.
son, I'm a family man. Like, I'm a warrior dad. My son had went from having meltdowns in public. I'll have a chip on my shoulder, being defensive with the world.
Right.
Imagine somebody in Times Square is 1,000 people when you see a man and his kid on the floor, because the man is on the floor to comfort his kid because his kid is having a meltdown. People didn't understand. They wasn't ready
And
for that. They wasn't
right.
ready for that. You know what I mean? And again, fast forward, I'm blessed today that we have a whole autism community. We have a puzzle hive, just a nickname I like to call it. Is real
I
cool.
see. Yeah.
All the parents don't play when it comes to our special needs children. We've adopted nieces and nephews. Shout out to my brother Midtown, one of the most illest brothers that I've met on this journey. Me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Advocating, fighting for what's right, being the voice for the voiceless. People see it whether they act like they don't see it or not, but people see it. It's real. I'm gonna give y'all a number for those that don't know. It's 1 in 44. It's 1 in 44 boys right now. So you can count 44 people in a day that you walk past or see, and one of those families, one of those people is connected to a child with autism. It's in our backyard, whether people want to, you know what I mean, admit it or not. And for me being an MC, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like music is one of the most influential aspects that we have in the world. Hip hop
Right.
influences the world. You understand what I'm saying? So why not have a platform where we could speak for those kids that are nonverbal? Like my son, he nonverbal don't mean mute. He just mean he can't have a fluent conversation like this. But I've worked so hard, hands on with my son. I tell you, it's a never ending. It's overtiring. It's different for families, parents that have special needs child. Um, Scheduling is off. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everything is it's so many different dynamics to it, which
Mm-hmm.
it could overwhelm you. You know what I mean? But we learn as parents. We learn to adapt on the fly.
Right.
I like to call the parents Tom Brady's, because we call audibles. We come outside, we read the defense, we take a good look, we look at our child, we call it audible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah.
Life is full of audibles, and our children like to stick to a certain routine. You know what I mean? So we try to do that. And furthermore, I have a nonprofit that I'm sprouting out the ground.
Oh, you do? Share
Yes,
that.
it's called Puzzles in the Sky. My first hip hop album, which leads me to say this to y'all real quick. My hip hop album, it's called Puzzles in the Sky. I don't want to just say the first. I don't want to, but I want to say one of the first
Mm-hmm.
ever hip hop albums dedicated to autism. Somebody show me another one. Find me another one. I put this album out 3 years ago. Find me another one. My son, who's nonverbal, is the executive producer of my album. Do you understand how important that
I
is
heard
to me?
the album too. Okay, really?
I literally took my son to the D-Block studio.
Uh-huh.
Shout out my brother Poob. Shout out my brother Dazel. You know
Mm-hmm.
Dazel.
Of course,
And
fan.
they
Yep.
had the utmost patience with my son,
Mm-hmm.
allowing him to sit at the board. We went over music. My son is very inclined with music. So if I showed you his iPad, you would think he's an old soul. He probably got his mom's music, a little bit of his dad's music. He's my biggest fan. He listens to my videos, my
So
freestyles, everything. I don't
that's
hide nothing from him. You know what I
so
mean? So it's like I if I never had another fan again, I wouldn't care. My son is my biggest fan. To my son, I'm the goat of all goats when it comes. So I'm okay. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But on a serious note, yeah, man, I did this album because I wanted people to see the talent in our special needs kids. Now my son maybe can't rap like I can do, but he can compose.
mm-hmm.
So what he did was he picked out the records that he felt I should go with. And
Mm-hmm.
when he didn't like a record, he would give me a certain stem. I know
Mm-hmm.
my son very well, so I
Right,
understand and pay attention to his patterns. He
right.
would stem a certain way when the record was dope, and then he would give me a different type of stem when he just like aggravated, like, nah, I don't want that one. You know what I mean? And it started with 1, it went to 2, it went to 5. I was like, you know what? We just gonna do a whole album. You know what I mean? So Puzzles in the Sky, he's the
That's
executive
so,
producer.
that's so
My
good.
company, 354 Entertainment, he has all the rights to it. His name is on the paperwork. He's a real exec on paperwork. Um, and he's a child living with autism. Like, how cool is that? You know what I mean?
I'm telling you.
You know,
Wow.
so that and what that constitutes is, again, my nonprofit, which is called Puzzles in the Sky Inc. This is actually the first platform that I've actually spoken on my nonprofit. I have been kind of keeping this under wraps, but the cat is kind of out the bag. But what I like to specialize in my autism community, that we get on every Thursday. Today's Thursday, so next Thursday, 4 o'clock, me and my brother Midtown, we go live. Puzzle
Mm-hmm.
Voice, Puzzle Dot Voice. He has a clothing brand called Puzzle Wear, Puzzle Life. It's a movement, and I support him 1,000,000%. But that's what we do every Thursday. So we tap in with the community, so the community knows something that I'm very passionate about. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
share with y'all.
Okay.
Um, we lost a legend in Yonkers, not only with DMX, the great, the grand champ. We also lost a legend in Yonkers by the name of Scoop. Big Scoop is from School Street, same hood as DMX.
Mm-hmm.
Yonkers legend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the story ain't get enough spin. I feel like we got to keep talking about this for the next 10 years. Leave it up to me. I'm gonna always keep talking about this because I feel like it's very special. It's different.
Who
Scoop,
exactly
again,
was Scoop?
street legend. Say again.
Who exactly was Scoop? Share with
Scoop
who
was a
exactly
street.
was.
Yeah, that's what Scoop is, a street legend from the city
Mm-hmm.
of Yonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Wore a lot of hats. Very, very muchly heavily respected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tragically lost his life. And that's why I started this aim with my nonprofit. The reason how he lost his life. He lost his life saving a child with autism that was in the water, that was drowning. And he jumped in and he saved the young king, and he perished his own life. He saved
Wow.
his life. So he is always will be a hero to the autism community, whether you met him personally or knew of him or not. I'm gonna make sure everybody knows who this man is, because he gave his life for one of our babies. And
Mm-hmm.
that's different. That hit different
Different.
for,
That hit
as a
different.
dad of a boy, of a son in particular,
Yeah.
it hits different. And I just feel like the city of Yonkers do a lot of cool things. Shout out to the mayor and everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is something that I feel like they kind of let go under the wayside. It should be bigger than that. So what I'm doing with my nonprofit is, now this is where we get to the nonprofit part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exercising a swimming initiative for our special needs children. We teaching our kids on the spectrum how to swim, how to deal with themselves in water. If you
So,
check, all you got to do is Google. We live in a smartphone technology world. All you got
yep.
to do is Google autism and water. There are a million stories of children with autism that
Mm-hmm.
somehow get away from their parents or whoever's watching them. They get to water. Unfortunately, they have this attraction with water and they drown. There's so many stories like that. And then this one hit home because this is in Yonkers. This happened in Yonkers. So yeah, so I said, you know what? I want to keep his legacy alive. Swimming should be a vital, important part of our kids on the spectrum. They all have an IEP. We feel like it should be on the IEP. It's a life skill. It shouldn't. You shouldn't have to pay to learn a life skill.
That's true.
We giving out $30 million for crack pipes and paraphernalia, but we can't do a swimming program to curb some of these lives, to help save some of these lives. Are you shitting me? So somebody got to do it.
Yeah.
So here I am. Here we are. Puzzles in the Sky. And shout out to all of the programs, because it's not a one-of-one. I mean, there are programs out there that teach these babies how to swim. And I don't want them to be forgotten either, because they're doing a hell of a job. But this is just something for me personally, because I'm so connected to it and attached to it. So this is what the nonprofit really is based off of. We will be teaching cognitive skills, life programming skills. We will try to help these kids to learn to live on their own. Because when they're babies, they're cute. Everybody loves it. But when they get young adults, everybody's kind of like this.
Yeah,
you know,
yo,
like
hey,
a grown man. Like my son is small, my son is big, but he's a happy kid. He don't mean no harm. But somebody that don't understand, he coming in your space, and it's like you get all crazy. So it's like we trying to teach the initiative so we could change the narrative and have more compassion. And that's where the understanding comes from. We have the awareness. People, we're aware of many things, but we want the acceptance. So people can understand, like there are some kids that are wired differently. Their brains are wired differently. They don't mean no harm.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing with police. Like we already getting a lot of young black men and minorities in general, a lot of police brutality, overexertion of force. What do you think that does for a child with special needs? My son, if police run down on my son, hey, get over here. My son is going to freak out. He don't understand.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So we need to, and it's crazy because, you know, I lived a certain life in a different chapter. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff these guys rap about, I did it young. I paid the price for it. You know what I mean? But now it's like I'm at a part of my life where I got to try to help my community in the best way I see fit. We have a lot of brothers out there doing a lot of great things for the community, but I just feel the special needs part because they're in the hood too. So we doing food drives and the clothing giveaways for the hood.
With the special needs.
The special needs families don't come out to those because of sensory issues, allow conscious the kids. So I try to give them a little love so that they know that they're not forgotten, because they live right here too. While you know, promoting that you do this for the hood, that's great. So I'm the guy that's gonna come through and I'm gonna get the rest of us. The rest of us is the special needs family that we need to put more on the forefront and recognize more, because it's 1 in 44. Don't wait till it's in your backyard. Look, we got April coming next month. You're going to see everybody be all they can be. All the pens, hey, autism away. Everybody comes out. The stickers go on the cop cars, right? You know, the firemen.
Even basketball. 1 month, right?
The coaches in basketball, they got the pens on and you see all that. But guess what happens when April's gone? We like, this is what we doing. Exactly. Nothing. It's like, all right, one. See y'all next year. Nah, I'm tired of that narrative. Because we live with this 365 days a year. Some children have combinations. I've met babies that have autism and they're blind. I've met babies that have autism and Down syndrome. Like this combination, it's so many layers to this thing. That's why when I say special needs, of course, obviously I'm fighting for the autism, but special needs, man. We need that. Like, you know what I mean? And for the photo ops and all that, like we don't do it for that. Because when those photo ops go away, we got to live this life. We still here. And you know, it's funny because my friends are very supportive, but I can obviously know that they'll never understand, you know what I mean? Like, what it take to really be me. Because I have to wear these hats. I got to be the artist, and I'm, I have a certain outgoing personality and energetic persona. But these guys don't know the demons that and the weight that I carry on my shoulders. While I'm smiling, laughing, I got all of this in my back of my head. You know what I mean? I lost my mom young. I went to prison young. Thank God I got that shit out of my system and I changed my life around. But I could talk to these kids because I've been there. You know what I mean? Just growing up without parents, man. You gotta have certain morals and principles that mean something to you that you carry with you. You know what I mean? And I see that a lot of that is missing. You know what I mean nowadays. So I just tell my story. Hopefully it inspires somebody, it motivates somebody, gives somebody a different way of thinking about certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It is.
Yeah, I don't want to talk you out of death, but I could do
Nah, listen, I'm
when
gonna
we talk
ask
about
you.
this is my passion. Like this is what I do.
See,
Puzzles in the Sky again is out on all digital platforms. You
I
can
heard that.
download Puzzles in
So,
the Sky anywhere.
and your
Take a
son
listen.
did that. That's so
My son, my
dope.
baby boy, take a listen.
Wow.
I'm working on part 2. I got some of my nephews from my community. We're gonna have them all on the records. I want to do a sensory, like a sensory thing with music for children, because I did that with my son. I used to take him to the studio and just let him count and hear himself on the mic, on the playback. That's what the cool stuff we used to do. And I think it's very therapeutic. So I want to start a vocal sensory program, which will be within my nonprofit. So I just want to do a lot of cool events. Just reach out to the babies, man, and let them know, Big Unc is here. Because, the parents, yeah, I love y'all. I'm for the babies, man. I'm for the baby. And the babies become young adults, and they
So,
get casted away. They get
yeah.
forgotten about. So I'm trying to just bridge that and keep that awareness there. You know what I mean?
so you say
Yeah.
you're on the road right now. Where you at exactly?
Well, I'm in Syracuse right now, man. It's actually nice for once, man, because it's usually cold as hell. It's like living in Colorado, New York.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 315, man. You know what it is.
Are you working on music up there? What's going on up
Working
there?
on music, working on life. Again, man, my album is more like a time capsule for hip hop, I like to say. The name of my album is called Ingenuity. For my diehard fans, my apologies for the delay. COVID concerns mixed with a lot of political stuff. This album is like 2 years old. I'm gonna come clean. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But again, I wear a lot of hats. This life ain't easy. My warrior dadness kind of overtakes a lot of
Takes
stuff
everything
sometimes. So sometimes I
down.
gotta put certain shit to the back burner. And
Yeah.
I'm so stubborn. I come from an era where I don't take handouts. I don't play back pockets. I
Yeah.
could be in a million videos on stage a million times. Anywhere you see the locks, whether it's all 3 of them or if it's one of them. But if y'all notice, like Snype don't really, that ain't by scene. You know
See
what I mean?
you.
Like
I
I kind of
see.
shy away. Like I'm
That's
dumb nice though. I'm super nice. Y'all go check my track record. Super nice. Right? But yeah, man. I finally got to the point where I felt comfortable though. So I want to release the project just to my diehard fans and hip hop fans that just love that old golden era feel. That golden era feel, that boom bap feel. You
yeah,
know?
right.
Um,
Got the
yeah, I
moment
got
and all that.
right. It's a lot of dope features on there. A lot of some of my hip hop heroes. I had a chance to actually have on this album, so that was a blessing. My first single, I'll give y'all a sneak
Can you
peek.
get a teaser? Can you
I
get a teaser?
dropped it. I dropped one joint though. I dropped it Don Perry with my big bro Sheik Luch. I
Yeah.
had I had Tech from Smith and Wesson on there. But
Yeah.
my new single I'm about to drop is with my bro Kiss and with Billy Dance from MOP. That just sounds crazy. Kiss and MOP just sounds crazy. In case people don't know, for the Locks, one of their favorite groups, the Locks' favorite groups is MOP. That's one of their favorites. So at the backstage when we were getting ready for the shows and all of that, play a lot of MOP.
MOP.
You know what I mean? So it felt good to put that together. I got a
Fire.
bunch of ill combinations, man. Lil Fame. I got Royal Flush on there. I got my boy
Ooh.
Terminology on there.
Ooh.
I even got Rockness, Helter Skelter on there.
Helter Skelter?
Happy
Snipe.
belated
That's hip
birthday.
hop right there, Snipe. That's
Yeah,
hip
I got
hop.
Rockness on there. I got my boy Rusty Jukes on there. Man, I got Trigger the Gambler. Man, I pulled out some hat tricks on this one. I promise y'all. You know what I
Trigger the
mean?
gamble. How you pull that one?
Yeah, man. Just relationships, man. Shout out my boy Trip. Trip is the producer of this album. Every record you hear on this album, Ingenuity, is produced by my boy Trip. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. We got together relationships, and you know what the ill shit about it is? These guys actually came through the process. Like these guys actually came to the studio, hung out through the whole process. It wasn't like, oh, send me the record, I do it, and I send it back. Like we hung out, you know what I mean? And vibe with each other. You know, you
Yeah.
get to feel, you know, I'm all for that. I don't care about numbers. Cause a lot of these rappers, yo, let me tell y'all,
Numbers.
a lot of these rappers, they corny and they wing. You know, y'all can corny as hell is wing. A lot of these rappers is wing. Trust me, they can't stand in the room. So don't get the social media. Don't get overwhelmed. Niggas got 80 million followers. You get around them, you be like, damn, this dude lame as hell. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it, man. So you know, it's cool to just be yourself, though. You know what I mean? And being yourself, develop all of these dope relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of which, how do you feel about the saying, like, you kind of sell your soul a little bit to make it mainstream in the industry? How you feel about that?
Like selling your soul.
The only way you make it in mainstream industry is if you
Right.
in some sort of way. You believe that's a real statement?
I think it's a real thing. No, I think some have actually sold their soul. Yeah. We got a lot of situations that you got to kind of question, and then you got to just put it on. You know, it's them people. I don't even want to say the name. It's them people though.
Right.
You know what I
We
mean?
got
Them people
you.
is definitely watching, and those are some of the, you know, some of those people are the forefounders of a lot of these business companies that actually move these record companies. Like these people don't, like the average fans don't know that. Like you look at a record label, Arista or something, you like Seagram's Gin or like, you know, a hard look at it, but somewhere behind it, because this is, you know, these were monopoly investments. You know what I mean? So a lot of these record labels are triggered by bigger companies. Is basically what I'm saying, and you know that brings a different society. And how far you willing to, you know what I mean, show your ass, you know, sell your soul. You know, that's how far you'll go. You know what I mean? Just leave me with the people in the streets, man. Leave me with the hoodies and the bats, man. You know.
Yo, all right, so another question. Do you believe in these mainstream or these major labels signing these drill artists to go against each other?
I mean, it's all propaganda, man. You know.
Purposely, to set shit off, and
Yeah, because they know that shit sells. I
that shit
mean,
set.
you know, that's why I like to big up the big mics, the brothers that really talk about, you know, self-preparation, like, you know, owning your own masters, you know, dealing directly to the consumer. I get it, you know what I mean? Because it's a whole nother entity that's involved, that's over all of our heads, like, you know what I mean? So it happens, bro, and it's just like nigga just gotta stay, you know, true to grounded to the shit that you feel, you know, is the truest to you, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess you answered the question of if you would rather industry. I mean, what is it? A major label or independent? You would rather indie life, right?
I'd rather go independent because it's all a settle, like you said, like what you're saying with the drill music, for example. Like it's all industry driven, it's product driven. So, you know, they took the art out of it. Like I feel like they took the art out of the culture and made it more industrial. So it's more about the money. So we don't care if you dumb nice. If this shit looks better, we going with this. You know what I mean? And sometimes a lot of that shit don't even sound horrible. But you got 1,000 dudes with you. You got 1,000 chains on. You got the rapper starter kit. You know, they'll go for that.
Yeah.
And that violence is what's bringing the money in. You know what I mean? So, but shout out to dudes like Drewski. You know, he personally felt like he wanted to put his foot down. He didn't want to play that because it's promoting violence. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of DJs you know, doing it. But again, this shit is about the big, man. Yeah.
Get on to that.
Drill music about to take the back door then, huh?
Yeah, that's what it's. I mean, they getting their bag, you know, and I ain't from this era, so I ain't hating on them. You know what I mean? It's the powers that be. You know what I mean? But like I said, just to kind of add on to what you just said, yeah, I feel like even for the drill artists, like artists, period, rappers, whatever you want to call yourself, independent is the best way because you don't need to be recouping back something from a label because you took an advance when you are bringing the product to the label. You are the product. So if you got your own following and all of that, screw all of the $100,000 budgets. Just take $7 off every fucking sale you make. and do 10,000, 100,000. You rich on your own. You don't need them. Because they just want to cut in and get bank off of your shit. And then now the percentages go from you owning, because you independent, you own all your shit, to you don't even own your shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just take your shit, like, literally. So, it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think you get enough credit for your art?
Hell no. I always felt underrated. I always felt like I didn't get enough, like just being honest with y'all. Like, a lot of fans, I don't know, a lot of fans, they follow the D-Block movement, right? And yeah, sometimes I feel like, because I'm like the longest standing D-Block member. You know what I mean? Hood was there. He had his chapter. We had no security. We had our chapter. But Snyp Life is still there. And like, sometimes I felt like that wasn't getting the most appreciation, because like, damn, you stayed down thick and thin, up and down, whether it was questioned or not. You stayed down. Like, you stayed down, whether it was money involved, you was fucked up, you just wrote it out. You know what I mean? But I know the integrity always influences when you're not aware. You know what I mean? Like, because integrity is you doing the right thing even when nobody ain't watching. You know what I mean? But I don't know, sometimes people didn't feel like, yo, like, I really been here. Like, I really took a back seat. I chilled. I've sacrificed. You know what I mean? But, that's part of the shit that keeps me driven, though. You know what I mean? Because they could have been said, nah, you got to get out here at the next exit. Nah, your shit is over. Like, they could have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They allowed me to be me, how I wanted to be me, at my own pace. And that's just kind of the things that you balance, because we all sacrifice, and it's just part of how much more diligent you're gonna be to get to your goals. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's real shit.
Yeah, I got a spicy question for you. You don't have to answer it. You could keep
spicy. Here we go.
It ain't that spicy, but check it. So, in your opinion, if you even know it, if you don't know, what really happened between J Hood and the Locks, actually?
What happened? I mean, for one, it's super old, right? So,
right.
I'll just say this, and this is something that I've said to him myself. I wasn't officially involved at the time as an artist, right? But this is in my neighborhood. They from my hood. They from my block. So, I know what's going on.
Yeah, what happened?
But looking from the outside in, as far as the business side, I will say this. I feel like it's an even split. I feel like what he was upset about, what he was really angry about, I don't feel he was wrong about that. I feel the way that he went about showing his anger, that's where he was wrong. You know what I mean? And I just leave it at that. We all older now. You know what I mean? We all learned from our shit. But yeah, I think we all have our growing pains, man. You know what I mean? We all in a better place now, though. You know what I mean? So, it's just part of the game. Shit we go through.
So let me ask you something real quick, Snyp. How would you describe yourself in 5 words?
5 words.
5 words. Come on, Snyp. 5 words.
Man, I mean, I am what D-Block stands for. For the record, I am disciplined. I am determined. I am dedicated. I'm very ambitious, and I'm influential. You know what I'm saying? That's 5. I can keep
5,
going.
that's 5.
Y'all want some more? Responsible. What you want? Reliable. Loyal. What? Honest. You know what I'm saying?
What you think is going to be your next single?
My next single?
Yeah.
That's
gonna be the 6 Feet record. I didn't properly name it. I just named who was on the record. But now that you said it, my next single was called 6 Feet, and it's featuring Jadakiss. And I don't want to say MOP. Yo, Fame. Somebody know Lil Fame. Yo, Fizzy. Where you at, Fizzy? I'm waiting on Fizzy. Actually, that's my brother, good brother, man. Love him. I'm waiting on Fizzy to finish that song. But as it stands right now, that could be a remix when I add Fizz Lil Fame to it. But right now, as it stands, myself, Kiss, and Billy Dance, the big
Yeah.
bro, man. You know what I mean? That's the next thing.
And when is that coming out?
Like maybe like 2 weeks. I'll give it
Oh,
about 2 weeks because you know, we already halfway through the month,
right.
and I want to drop the album next month. The whole album will be out next month, you know.
Okay.
But I also will be releasing a single for on behalf of our autism community. Shout out my brother Hall of Famer Ed Reed and the whole 8720 big supporters. They are our family.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm dropping a single with my brother Midtown, who I just spoke on earlier. The
Mm-hmm.
song is called Make 'Em Listen. This is our rally cry for autism, for all special needs children, and for their parents. This is a song, this is our theme music. We needed a theme music, you know, like Batman. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Like when we think of autism, we needed like a flavor theme song like that you
Theme
could
joint,
think of, right?
right?
So
Bop your head,
I
right?
think we got one. I think we got it. I think we got it. So I'll be releasing that in April. Again, we're not jacking the bandwagon. We appreciate the slot they gave us, I guess, for what it's worth. You know what I mean? Not gonna be too cold about it because some people just don't know, and sometimes these months like April, when the government recognizes it, they kind of open doors for people that never really knew about it.
Okay.
So I don't want to shun them out, but we know
Right.
again, like a lot of it is political propaganda, and for the families that live it every day, we're not gonna just be satisfied because you guys are recognizing us in April. But I will be dropping this song in April because I'm gonna make them listen. We gonna make them listen, though. We gonna
Absolutely.
feel us. Shout out my baby girl niece Courtney. That's my brother Midtown's daughter. My son Jaden. We are two dads, you know. So I felt like it made sense, and the record is fire. It's dope. Something you could dance to, you could party, you could hang out, you could work out to it. You know what I mean? It's not boring. It's fire, and I can't wait for y'all to hear it though. Word up.
So, who's your top 5 alive?
Oh man, top 5 alive? Why we can't just do
Alive.
5?
Alive.
You know what's funny about these questions, right? I'm gonna tell y'all
What?
this. Right?
Go ahead, Snyp.
People say top 5, right?
Alive.
Dead or
Alive.
alive? Dead or alive? I'm just saying in general, when people ask these questions, you get answers a lot from the perspective of who sold the most records, who had the #1 hits,
I don't want
things
that.
like that. But for me,
Oh.
walk with me. Walk with me. I ain't pick you up yet, but walk with me. Right? But for me, I feel like when I think of top 5, I think of the actual MCs that influenced my real life in some way. Not just because they was popular. You know what I mean? But these are the people that had an impact on my real to actual life. So I'm gonna start with this. GOAT of all goats. There's a close second. There's a co-goat, but I gotta give the GOAT of all goats to Big Daddy Kane. That's my #1. Big Daddy Kane is the reason why I write rhymes today. Well, I don't actually write rhymes. If you know me, I don't write. That's a whole nother story. But when I began to write rhymes, it was because I was a kid, little kid, playing with my toys around the crib. My mom's was young. I told you my mom's was young when she had me. So my mom's cleaning up the crib. She bumping like, you know, hip hop, R&B, right? But it was just something about that song, man. When Ain't No Half Stepping came on, it was like, I was just like, as a kid, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, yo, that's crazy. Oh, I gotta be in this shit. I started writing rhymes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rakim, you know. That was one of my mom's favorites, so it became my favorite. One of the smoothest brothers that I ever heard rhyme on an up-tempo BPM beat. He could take a beat that's super fast and he can talk slow on it, and it sounds ill. You know, heavy influence in my household. You know what I mean? And then I gotta move on. again, this is pertaining to my life, so I gotta move on, and I gotta say, rest in peace, Prodigy, Mobb Deep. I gotta put Mobb Deep together.
Gotcha.
Can't take one without the other. I know it's like group thing, but let's give them a slot by themselves. Mobb Deep for me was everything. It was my theme music. We used to go outside. I had a best friend to this day, 30 years. You know what I'm saying? One of my closest friends. We were Havoc and Prodigy when we was 13 and 14. You know what I mean? It was Start of Your Ending. You know, the infamous album. I was just getting ready to go to high school, and I felt I was the toughest guy in my city. You know, everybody did. You know what I mean? It was that era. But Mobb Deep really meant a lot to me, just in my everyday life. So I gave you three. I don't know if that's cheating, but my next slot I gotta combine it because it's a 2-for-1. The Locks and DMX. Top 5 together though. See, it's different. Y'all gotta understand. I met DMX as a kid doing the beat in the war for him in the staircase. One of the OGs, rest his soul, my man Greasy Nye from Whitney Young. Everybody know, if you know, you know. He was the Mike Tyson of Yonkers, 70-0, all knockouts. And he was on my block. My man Greasy Nye had the most influence. And anybody that was somebody from any hood in Yonkers, any project, whoever was the top or whoever was the most, they always came through and they always built. So that's where like brothers like Rest in Peace Scoop used to come through, and I used to see him as a kid. But DMX, I did the beat on the wall for him, and then when he finished rhyming, I started rhyming, doing the beat. And that's my first initial contact with X, and we developed a relationship. Like, yo, shorty, like, yo, you know what I mean? I tell people all the time, it's no secret by now, I went on missions with X. Y'all understand? God bless your dog. You know I gotta say it a million times. I robbed people with X for real. I went on real missions with him. You understand what I'm saying? So like it's different. So he's definitely a part of my influence. And the Locks, because they was outside my door when I come outside. Sheik Luch always say, yo, you got your verse ready? Like he always kept me on my toes. Like I probably was the J Hood then. You know what I mean? Before it actually happened. Because in my hood, I was always the nicest. Let's just call it what it is, right? 354 Whitney Young, you looking at the Godfather. I'm the boss hog, Don, like my peers. Remember, I know I was trying to be older, being with but I'm the shorty. So we got to talk about my peers. I influenced all my peers. Anybody from my block, I was one of the influencers for my peers. But I was just able to hang with the older cats or stay outside anyway. You know what I mean? But they're part of my joint. And my last one, I gotta say, that one is tight. That one is this one is tight. I want to say Pac and Big. I don't know how to. Pac and Big, man. I gotta if
both of them in the slot.
If Big is 5, Pac is off the bench. You gotta give me a 6-man off the bench.
Okay.
Either way you want to do it. Whatever vibe you feel.
But they had personal, like just the music, the stories. Like I was literally in the trenches. I was literally doing a lot of shit that I ain't too proud of now. I look back, I look at myself like, oh my God, what was you thinking? I'm appalled that I look back at my young self. My son is 16. You know what I was doing at 16?
Right,
like,
exactly, yeah.
Woo! So, but Pac was the theme music, man. Big was the theme music, man. Being down there, Harlem, 125th, I didn't get close enough, but I felt like I was. He was larger than life. This was like 95. I remember it. Like him and AZ, he had on his royal blue. Big, I'm talking about Big. He had on his royal blue. They was at the State Building, 125th. He was doing a joint outside, and he had on his blue shit, and it was like water. It was like water on him. Like he was different. I'm telling you, he was larger than life, bro. Like it was crazy. So, yeah, a lot of my influence though. Those brothers right there, I got to tip my hat. And I know I combined maybe a group or two, but I'm from where you had the black radio with the tape. and used to get on the bus or the train and play your shit loud like this with the screw face. I'm listening, excuse me, I'm listening to Buckshot Shorty. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like
Fluorescent and
this,
all that.
I'm
Yep.
like this Fruit Snickers. I'm like this Das Effects. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like that was me. And then I come home and look what I got. I got the Warlocks on my block. What? You know what I mean? I got the Warlocks. Before y'all knew them as the Locks, they was the Warlocks.
Warlocks. Yeah.
I know rhymes from the Locks and DMX that they couldn't even recite to you right now.
Wow.
And one of the last times I seen X, which was so pleasurable, he actually was in the D-Block studio recording his verse for the song Bout Shit that he has with the Locks, and they shot the video.
Fire.
And that was the last time that we seen him.
Yeah.
Days will tell you. It was so ironic because I always talk shit. Like, yeah, X, you know, like nobody never really seen me interact with him though.
Yeah.
So when he came in this night, it's, you know, that's the, you know, the God, like the dog is the dog. So everybody in the room acknowledge the dog when he walk in. So everybody's getting up, you know, he's going down the line. What's up, dog? Yo, what's up, dog? Yo. When he gets to me, he goes, oh shit. Oh, and he grabs me and everybody, and I'm looking at everybody just, yeah, told you so. Like I got that. I fucking told y'all. This is my dog. I told y'all. You know, and he just was so amazed to see me. And I just keep seeing that in the back of my head, man. It's just like, that was one of my fondest memories, my last memory of him. You know what I mean? But, and last memory was he was working. He was in there, he was working. So, you know, he put that in all of us. From the Locks down. Remember, dog is the top dog. Then you got the Locks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm from that era. The dog is always the top dog.
Yeah.
He influenced all of us, all the way down, from the Locks through, all the way down to guys like me. You know what I mean? So, word up.
Oh. So what do D-Block actually stand for? Because you hear D-Block all the time. D-Block, D-Block, D-Block.
That's it. I told y'all. I told you. Look,
You know?
Dedication, determination, and discipline. That's
D-Block. Okay.
That's D-Block. Remember, Snyp told you so. You know what I mean? I'll give you one quick story. One of my illest memories was with my brother Styles, right? You know, me and Styles' birthday is the same day, so I always kind of trump that. Like, he's a little older. You know, he's an older dad, but I'm from that cloth. Like, you know, I ain't like you, but I'm kind of like you. You know, I get busy. You know, I get busy. You know, my jail record speak, nigga. You know what I mean? But but ill shit was so we in the studio, so we recording this record, right? And shout out my brother Vinny Idol. Vinny Idol produced these records. He sent us 90 beats on a CD. Long story short, we going through these records, we going through these beats. I keep telling Styles, yo, Styles, it's this record. That was like number 5. We on number 40 something beat playing. I tell you, Styles, we gotta go back to 5. We gotta go back to 5. He gives in. All right, fuck it. Let's do 5. It's knocking. It's fire. So we all in there, about 5, 6 of us. So we writing. Everybody's writing. I'm looking around. I pride myself because I don't write rhymes. Remember, I made that statement kind of.
Yeah, you don't write, but actually,
So I don't write rhymes, right? That's a situation that came from jail culture, being in the box, not having pen or paper. I was always one of the nicest in the jail. So I always had to be prepared to remember all my rhymes when I got back out to the yard. That was as a kid. So this is where that came from. So now I come home, I don't write rhymes, right? So I'm in there. Everybody got their pens out. They got their phones out. They got notebooks out, right? Styles is on the couch. He got his hood on. I thought he's taking a nap. Beats playing. Out of nowhere, he jumps up. Out of nowhere. No warning. Yo, I'm about to go in. About to do what? So I'm saying to myself, this nigga was rocking us to sleep, fake sleep. That's some of the illest shit I ever seen. The man was asleep on the couch. I could have sworn he was asleep.
Yeah.
Must have had his eyes closed and he was computing what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He didn't have a pen and paper in sight. And he went in there and spit one of the illest verses you ever heard. You know what I mean? And he came out the booth and everybody's looking around like, damn, who's going after Styles? Like, you know, I jumped to the occasion. You know, I'm a savage. So I jumped. So Styles looks, he's come out. So I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm sweating. I'm like, damn, yo, P just killed everything before anybody can even go yet. So he goes on the outside. I'm like, yo, P, I'm going next. Watch out, P. He looked at me like, yo, you didn't write? You ain't. Everybody else is writing. No, I didn't write, P. He looked at me. He just gave me that look like Jedi. Like, you a Jedi. Oh, okay, I get it. So we get in and I knock it out. And the song is actually out. It's well known. The song is called Discipline. You can look it up. There's a video for it. The song's called Discipline, produced by Vinny Idol. Styles went first, I went second, because that's how it went that night. And I just think that was just ill to it. Craftsman, as an MC, to see that, it was just inspirational. It was ill, like. But I knew that I was on that wavelength, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's super dope, super dope. And I'm still lighting up, man. What we doing? What's doing over there? Shout out to the 420 Farms, man. They gave me some fire.
420
They hit me.
Bodega Farms.
They hit me.
Yeah.
Good looking brothers. I mean, it's legal now. What you want me to do?
Is
Legal,
it?
dog. Legal, man. 420. What up?
Do you play any instruments?
Yo, that's crazy that you asked me that. That's a very good question. I used to be in the drum corps. Anybody from Yonkers know we had the band, the best, greatest band in Yonkers was called the Westchester Invaders. And I
What?
used to be in the drum corps. I used to be in the Westchester Invaders. I used to
What?
play snare. I used to play quads, snares, and bass. Which translates now, right? When I get with producers, I listen to drum patterns. I listen to bass lines. I listen to breakdowns because I know about drum patterns because I played snare. I played in the drum corps. So it actually helped me to decipher music. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Word.
cool.
And we was bad, man. Ask anybody young. Westchester Invaders, we had knocks. You ain't know? We used to go on the tournament. We used to go walk 5 miles with the. We was walking and sweating, going down the whole, what's that, 125th, 8th. We did the whole parade. Crazy. I used to be doom, doom. Like, we used to come through like, yo, Westchester. We had the dancers. The girls be dancing in the front. Then we be dancing with the snare, doing the little rock. Childhood, man. Word up. I was always with the music, though. Word up.
Describe your worst performance. You got a worst performance.
I wouldn't say it was my worst performance, but one that fucked me up was I think I was in Connecticut. I think we was at Toad's place, and I was sold out. And I wouldn't say it was my worst, but it was so ill because I remember being on stage, and I remember some people in the crowd just had that look like who this nigga, man? This nigga out of here. I want to see the locks. I want to hear all y'all niggas. I want to hear the locks, nigga. Like, you got that look on their face, right? And I go into my set, I'm doing my thing or whatever, and I guess a lot of people didn't realize they didn't put the face with the songs. A lot of the songs, they didn't realize it was me, like on these mixtape joints and all of that, right? It was a white kid. He was in the front. This kid was mouthing every word of my song. He knew my shit word for word to the point where he messed me up.